If your mission in life is to never disappoint a woman, you've already lost. I'll say that again. You have already lost. Because the minute you start to live to meet her expectations instead of your own, you've pretty much given your power away. Completely. And that's exactly why she'll stop respecting you. In this video, I'm breaking down why disappointing women, yes, even the ones you care about, is not only inevitable, but necessary if you ever want to be respected, desired, and ultimately free in a relationship. This video will cover why trying to please women is killing your masculinity, the hidden power in saying no, how standing firm actually increases attraction, and why discomfort is the price of being a man she looks up to. My name is Jessica OS. Welcome to the channel. So point number one, you're not her fantasy and you shouldn't try to be. Every guy has done this at some point. You meet a woman you like, she seems amazing, and suddenly you start editing yourself. You start playing a role. You start trying to become this man that you think that she wants instead of the man that you actually are. Let's be real for a second. A lot of guys walk into relationships with this unspoken pressure, right, to perform. I mean, you want to say the right thing, you want to do the right thing, you want to be the perfect guy, charming, funny, deep, attentive, emotionally available, and tough when she needs it. Truth is, the moment you start bending yourself to fit her fantasy, you've already lost her. Because women don't actually fall in love with fantasy, they fall in love with reality. The reality of a grounded man who knows who the hell he is and doesn't need her approval to function. The truth is, her fantasy man doesn't exist. And trying to be him just makes you look insecure. Let me put it this way. If you're constantly adopting your words, your behavior, your time, and your values to avoid disappointing her, you're not building a relationship. You're performing in an audition. She doesn't want the man who says yes to everything. She wants the one who has the balls to say no and mean it. Think about it. When you always try to please her, you're not actually being generous. You're being afraid. Afraid that you'll disappoint her, afraid that she'll leave, afraid that if basically you assert yourself, she'll pull away. Ironically, that very fear is what pushes her away in the end. Real connection doesn't come from perfection. It comes from authenticity. It comes from being unapologetically yourself. And guess what? That means you will disappoint her. You will say some things that she doesn't like. You will do something that challenges her. And that's a good thing. It actually is, because it forces her to interact with the real version of you, not some curated, over-filtered version designed to win her approval. You're not a fantasy, you're a man. And if you keep acting like a fantasy, she'll treat you like one, disposable. So ask yourself, are you trying to be her ideal, or are you becoming the kind of man she can't help but respect even when you disappoint her? Point two. Pleasing her will cost you your peace. Now, every man who makes it his mission to keep a woman constantly happy ends up exhausted, anxious, and confused because her happiness isn't your responsibility. And the more you try to control it, the more you lose control of yourself. A man who can't stand the thought of a woman being upset with him is a man who has handed over his inner peace in exchange for temporary approval, right? And I'll tell you something, it's a really horrible trade. You become a people-pleasing puppet, always guessing, always reacting, always second-guessing your gut just to keep her smiling. And the moment she isn't smiling, you start to panic. If it sounds familiar, how many times have you ignored your own needs just to avoid hearing her say, "I'm disappointed in you"? Look, the woman you're with will occasionally be unhappy with you. That's normal. She's human, she has emotions. But if your goal is to never upset her, you've just entered a game where you lose by default. Because now your mood is tied to hers. Your peace depends on her being okay. You've made her the thermostat to your entire world. And when you do that, guess what happens? No, just guess. She'll lose respect for you. Because women are intuitive. I tell you this all the time, guys. She can actually feel when you're abandoning yourself just to stay on her good side. And instead of appreciating it, she'll start to see it as a weakness. She might not even say it out loud, but inside she's probably thinking, nah, this man doesn't trust himself enough to stand firm, so why should I? Stop sacrificing your peace for a temporary smile. You're not her therapist, you're not her savior, you're not her genie there to grant her every emotional wish. You're a man. right? And a man who leads with clarity will sometimes cause friction, but it's that friction that actually polishes respect. When you start prioritizing your peace, two things happen. You stop overreacting to her moods and you start adjusting to yours. And that's when the dynamic will flip. That's when she starts chasing your energy instead of you chasing her validation. Point 3. The power of no builds the man she actually wants. You want to know the fastest way to lose a woman's respect? Say yes to everything. Agree with everything. Give her everything she wants every time she wants it, right? It may sound romantic to you, but it's a recipe for silent disgust. You see, most men are terrified of saying no to a woman they like, right? They think that, like, for instance, if they don't comply, maybe she'll leave, she'll get mad, she'll withdraw sex, she'll say he doesn't care. So what do they end up doing to themselves? They bend, they break, they fold under pressure, and then they wonder why she's suddenly bored. Now, you see, a man who can't say no is not a man in her eyes. He's some kind of servant, and servants don't get the cookie, right? Servants don't turn her on. Question is, when was the last time you told a woman no without flinching, over-explaining, or apologizing for it? When a man says no with calm authority, he communicates one thing, and that's leadership. And leadership is attractive. Even if she doesn't like what you said, she feels safe knowing that you're capable of standing on your own values, right? Now, let's say she wants to spend the weekend at her friend's house, but you've got work, right? Or some non-negotiable personal goal that you're focused on. Now, if you say, hey, babe, I know you were looking forward to this, but I've got priorities that I need to take care of, so I'll just sit this one out. You're not being difficult. You're being anchored. Will she pout? Maybe. Will she challenge you? Most likely. But here's what's happening beneath the surface. She's actually testing your center. She wants to see, can this man hold his own when my emotions come into the mix? Because if he can't hold his own with me, how the hell is he going to hold it down in the real world? A man who knows how to say no without guilt or fear becomes unshakable. And guess what? That's the kind of man she brags about to her friends. The one who doesn't flinch when challenged. The one she can lean on without controlling. Your no sets the frame. It tells her, I'm not here to be used. I'm here to lead. And if you want to ride with me, there will be rules. It means you value yourself. It means you won't tolerate disrespect. It means you have standards. And women crave a man with standards, even if it makes them feel uncomfortable. Point number 4, disappointing her creates real boundaries. You teach a woman how to treat you by what you're willing to tolerate. And if you're always afraid to disappoint her, you'll never set the boundaries that actually make relationships work. You see, boundaries are not walls. They're respect lines. Okay? And without them, love turns into manipulation. Respect turns into resentment. And the man, well, he turns into some kind of emotional punching bag. Every time you ignore a red flag to keep her happy, you move the line a little further. And every time you move it, you lose a piece of yourself. I mean, did you ever let something slide because you didn't want to ruin the vibe? And then she did it again and again until now it's just basically how she treats you? That's not love. That's learned entitlement. When a woman sees that you never push back, she'll start to believe that you never will. So she tests the boundaries, not because she's evil, but because she wants to know where the edge is. And the thing is, if she doesn't find an edge, she doesn't find a man. She actually finds a mirror, a reflection of her moods, her preferences, her emotions. And nothing dries up attraction faster than a man who reflects instead of responds. You cannot build a kingdom if anyone, especially the woman in your life, feels free to walk through your throne room with muddy shoes. Disappointing her is often the first time she meets the real version of you. And trust me, it's worth it. She'll respect the man who drew the line more than the boy who kept erasing it for her, right? Don't confuse love with compliance. Don't confuse peace with silence. And definitely never confuse being a good man with being an emotional doormat. True boundaries are forged in the moments when you say, look, I know this might upset you, but I'm not okay with this. And that's when you stop being an option and start becoming the standard. Point 5, discomfort is the price of leadership. So you can't lead if you're afraid to be disliked. And you damn sure can't be respected if you're terrified of making a woman uncomfortable. Let's get this straight. Leadership in a relationship is not about control, but clarity. It's about knowing where you're going, standing firm in your values, and not letting emotions, yours or hers, steer you off course. To lead, you must be willing to disappoint her, and not just once, but repeatedly. Why? Because leadership is about doing what is right and not necessarily what's easy. And what's right doesn't always feel good in the moment either. Right? Think about it. When has doing the right thing ever felt convenient in the moment? I'll wait.
1,000,000 zillion jillion dillion cotillion times later.
When has standing on principle ever been comfortable? Real leadership actually requires you to walk through the fire of her frustration. Sometimes it means saying no when she's begging for a yes. Sometimes it means calling out toxic behavior, even if it triggers tears, right? Sometimes it means walking away from her completely, because keeping your dignity means more than keeping the relationship. And that hurts. But guess what? That's the cost of being the man she looks up to. Women don't want a man who agrees with them all the time. They want a man who grounds them, who holds the center when they spin, who leads when she resists. Because when the storm comes, and trust me, it will, she's not looking for a yes man. She's looking for a rock. Someone who doesn't get shaken when she's emotional. Someone who doesn't abandon his purpose to cater to her feelings. Someone who knows what he stands for and doesn't flinch when it's tested. Ever seen a woman cry over a man but still follow his lead? That's respect in motion. That's what happens when she feels safe, even in the discomfort. She may not always like your decisions. She may even question your choices. But deep down, she feels something rare. And it's a sense that she can trust your leadership. Not because you said what she wants to hear, but because you had the strength to say what needed to be said. Men who are desperate to be liked, stay silent. Men who are ready to be leaders, speak their truth, even if it makes her uncomfortable in the short term. If you want to be the man she follows, not just flirts with, if you want to be the man she leans on, not just leans on for fun, you have to earn that role by embracing one thing most men fear: discomfort. It's not your enemy, it's your initiation. Here's the truth. Every man who's respected, admired, desired, has disappointed a woman. Not because he wanted her, but because he refused to lose himself to keep her happy. And that is what she remembers. And that's what makes you different, you see. That's what makes you stand out. Remember that. Jessica OS here. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, smash that like button so I know and I can create more of such content. And please subscribe to the channel, as I have lots of fake Jessica OS channels and AI versions of me out there. You don't want to be fooled at all. So yeah, subscribe and you won't regret it. My name is Jessica OS, the real Jessica OS. Catch you later. Cheers.